Hi, I'm Jo Clark, and thanks so much for joining me today. This is the Redefining Midlife podcast, a podcast designed for the 40-plus woman who is determined to challenge society's myths and beliefs around midlife. It's for the woman who is inspired and ready to define midlife her way. Join me each week as I chat to health and wellness experts for up-to-date information on how to live well, as well as some special conversations with incredible everyday women redefining what midlife can look like. Here's to making our next half of life even better than the first. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Redefining Midlife. By the time you get to hear this episode, it's Women's Health Week. This year, the theme is called It's All About You, and I absolutely love this theme. Women are busier than ever before. Between work and family commitments and the never-ending to-do lists and carrying that mental load, many of us are feeling absolutely stretched out, burnt out, and wrung out. We're depleted. Now, all of this can have an impact on our health and our well-being, and none of it is good for us. In fact, the truth is, this way of living and being and thinking is going to catch up with us. And sadly, it's not until for some of us that we have a health crisis for ourselves or perhaps someone we know that we decide to do something about it. But ladies, it's important that we take the steps before that happens. Unfortunately, 80% of us over the age of 80 have got 2 or more chronic diseases at the same time. Now, the very nature of a chronic disease means it didn't happen overnight. Chronic diseases means that something has happened over years and sometimes decades before the symptoms present themselves in order for a doctor to be able to diagnose you. Now, these chronic diseases that women are presenting themselves with are chronic diseases of aging. They're the vascular diseases. They're the ones that give us heart attacks, strokes, heart failure. There's chronic lung diseases. Other sorts of chronic diseases are cancers, arthritis, osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, dementias, and mental health disorders. But it's not all doom and gloom, because the World Health Organization estimates that 80% of these chronic diseases are actually preventable. So it's about creating the conditions of health and not disease that we have to focus on, because we have the power to change the outcomes, to reduce the severity of those symptoms. And in fact, in some cases, we can actually reverse what has happened. As our body gets older, we know our body changes. We're all feeling the effects of that. And it's really important that we take this opportunity to slow down and to listen to what our body needs and how it feels. So sorts of things that you can start to ask yourself is, do you need more sleep? How does your body feel when you eat certain foods? Do you feel sluggish? Does it make you feel bloated? How does your body like to move now? Because no doubt you're probably feeling different aches and pains, and you probably can't move your body like you used to. So in what ways are you starting to move your body now to support it? It really is for us as women to be proactive rather than reactive. And I can't emphasize that enough. We need to start prioritizing ourselves and readjusting things. We probably can't do what we did 10, 15, 20 years ago, but there is still so much that we can do. We need to start thinking about creating conditions for health. We need to start to understand our own health, because we're all different. And we need to start taking charge of our own health destiny. Start to think about, how do you want to feel a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Keep on going, 15, 20. What do you want to feel like when you're 80? Are you honestly doing something that's going to get you there? So think about what you're doing now. Is continuing along this path going to get you how you want to feel into the future? I mean, we want to feel good not only now, but for tomorrow, for the next day, and for the years to come. When I work with women, I always look at 6 pillars of wellness that can really help us to get a more holistic view of what we need to start focusing on. If you start to think of each of these pillars as a piece of a jigsaw puzzle that all fit together. So my 6 pillars are nutrition, movement, stress management, sleep and rest, purpose and connection, and hormone support. Now, I'm going to be doing some deep dives in these different areas over the course of the podcast, and I'll be bringing in lots of guest experts to talk about the different areas as well. But what I do in my Better Than Before membership is really help women to focus on the areas that they need to focus on. And I just challenge every one of you this week during Women's Health Week to set aside some time and prioritize your health. Think about where you are and where you would like to be, and start to think about ways in which you can put yourself higher up on that to-do list. Start to think and learn about ways that you can boost your own well-being, ways that you can protect your health for years to come. Now, if you do need some help with this, I do have my Better Than Before membership, and during the whole week of Women's Health Week, it's going to be open. And you can find out more information about this if you're feeling like you need some more support. We can help you with that, because the membership is actually designed for women who are ready to put their health first and to live their best life. So you can head to my website, and that's joclarkcoaching.com/membership, and have a look at that and see if that's something that might help you. If you want some more tips and ideas, then I've got a quick start guide as well that might be able to help you with easy ways that you can start to implement things. But ladies, I really encourage you, use this week in particular to put aside some time to sit, think, feel, and reflect. How are you going? Because remember, it is all about you. If something happens to you, what's going to happen further down the line? We're so busy filling up everybody else's cup and making sure everyone else is okay that we're not spending time for ourselves. So I really challenge you to think a little bit more deeply this week on what you are doing to put yourself up higher on that to-do list. I hope next time that we meet that you're going to have a bit more of an action plan in place, and you're really going to start on the daily, think about what you are doing to nurture and look after yourself, because you're worth it. Thanks so much for listening and sharing your time with me today. I'd love you to hit subscribe on Apple Podcast or your favorite podcast app to keep spreading these empowering messages. Please share this podcast with other incredible midlife women in your world. Join me again next week for another redefining midlife conversation. Thanks again for tuning in.